This is a
Good time, Charlie?
production.
Hi, Nick Jew, party of three. I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
I like it.
We're back again. Stay Crunch. I can't talk. Stays Crunchy and Milk Podcast presents Creme Patissier presents the Big Brunch episode 3. With you as always, I'm your hostess, Nick Jew. Over here and over there, my partners.
Representing the land. You know how it is. Standard as Terror 713. I'm going to introduce Miss Tatum 216 with the dope Guardian shirt on. I might have punch him in the stomach and steal it.
or I could just buy you one. It's a local shirt.
It's not as hilarious with that. You know what I'm saying? That
he literally chose violence.
It was an option.
I was trying to do a fun violence segue, but there's nothing I can talk about that's fucking relatable to farm to table brunch, which is this week. I mean, I'm sure I'd want to fight some of them people for some of the things they serve me. Like, there's never a need, in my opinion, to eat Romanesco. A garnish.
The weird spiral looking broccoli?
Yeah.
I thought it was so cool because I saw it in... What's that first of the most recent Star Wars movies? Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
What's called was eating that in the scene where she was eating that bread that blew up that she got when she got her 1/4 portion. And I was like, yeah, that broccoli look cool. And it looked cool to me.
It just doesn't taste very good.
They were swearing by it this week. Like multiple people.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't even have a taste I could describe to you. It's not very memorable. And it feels like something you just shouldn't be eating. But they loved it. All right. So Dan comes into the kitchen with a surprise, he says, and leads the cast outside to some beautiful produce. He tells them that this week they are celebrating the joy and beauty of plant-based food. Brought to you by the Santa Monica Farmers Market. There is a huge truck and tables full of very beautiful produce. The starter is going to be a vegan appetizer focused on one seasonal vegetable, but they can use as many other vegetables as they want. And Sola, to our man Roman, our vegan in the kitchen, she asked him, she thinks it's his time to shine or whatever. They're giving Roman a little like gas this week because he should, but you know how this usually goes. You're gonna put the pressure on the person whose specialty is supposed to be, and they may not rise to the occasion.
So I wrote my notes and I laughed because therefore, like halfway through the episode, Vanessa then stated the same thing. I absolutely loved Sola's makeup this week.
It was so pretty. It was so pretty. It was like they darkened up her eyes and did like a really deep contrast, like shadow, and nothing on her lips. It made her eyes look huge. Like it was so good.
Yeah.
Very good. I wrote a shady note. Hopefully this is my only shady note. I kept the rest to myself while I was watching. Roman cried at the vegetables.
Dog. And I was just like,
yeah, that was weird.
Dog.
I'm passionate about vegetables. That nigga passionate about it. What can you say?
I respect it. I just am I have a lot of follow-up questions.
But you know what? Here. You know what? He pointed out that he was really suffering some homesickness this week.
Yes.
I'm gonna put it on that he was just suffering some homesick, and the vegetables made him think of the Marcus at home
Bruh, he cried.
I mean, you ain't wrong.
Danielle
You wrong.
got choked up too. I was very confused. I'm like, so what's happening right now? The only closest experience I have to it is when you like do a show with a group of people, you have a really great rehearsal process, y'all just really love each other, and it starts to become this little love fest. And so I think that the energy in that space is so positive for like there's not a villain. There doesn't seem to be anybody who's trying to be like the star of the show. So I think they all just really fuck with each other. And so they're vulnerable is my guess.
Whereas this week, I felt like I noticed Jay kept running up and hugging everybody. And I know you're saying, oh, maybe Jay's friendly. But no, that puts Jay on that camera every time somebody came through that door. And I was like, I noticed it is all I'm saying.
I kept the rest of my shady notes to myself, I said. I'm trying to rise above it. Danielle was emotional. I love vegetables, but not nearly this much. So,
or maybe it's like when you see, like, say, like you went to a funeral, and it's like at first you strong the whole time, and do you see other people cry? Do you like, oh shit?
Oh,
like,
most definitely. No one is gonna cry alone if I'm around. So I fuck with that too, because I would have cried too. So they have an hour.
So what snatched me up this week, and I was like, damn it, Nick was right. And I know it's gonna seem so dumb to say, but when Danielle walked toward that lady, was like, look, bro, I bake. I don't cook. What can you tell me about these vegetables? I was like, oh, I immediately get you now. And I see what Nick was saying, just that little bit. But then later in the episode, I was like, oh no.
Right.
I fell right back into that.
She definitely
suspicious.
Yeah. She definitely is out. She feels out of her element. And she's starting to show. Okay, so they have an hour, 15 minutes to create this starter. The judges sitting around having a little chat. Dan wants to know who of the three of them would survive like on a deserted island just off of foraging. And like, it's a great question if Sola wasn't sitting right there. Like, she's the very obvious answer.
Like, by a lot.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So then we get our package on Danielle from Garden City, New York. Her grandma Rosemary taught her how to bake, and she passed from Alzheimer's. And towards the end of her life there, all of those recipes that Danielle had written down from, or had learned from her that her grandmother originally wrote down, she wasn't able to remember. And they, shared some sweet end of life bonding baking there. She lost her day job right before COVID and started a wholesale bakery in New York City, apparently. Dan is doing the first walk around. He is drinking Daniel's winning drink from last year, Kip from Norfolk, Virginia. He has a organization called the Crop Foundation that he founded in 2014. It's a hands-on organization to help inner city kids. And Daniel is the chef owner of a pop-up in Richmond, Virginia, only like 2 hours away from Norfolk. Sola thinks nobody will never, ever, ever invite her to dinner after the show starts airing. Valid. It's a valid concern because our show wouldn't serve Sola not a nothing in my house.
Maybe you want to come over and cook at my house? That's what it ended up being.
Right. Yeah.
Girl, what you need me to buy?
Right. I'll get some wine. You go ahead and do that. Katie has had a full emotional breakthrough. Which we don't get to hear about right away because Sola is going to tell a nasty ass story about mushrooms. Where apparently
I really enjoyed learning that. Like, okay, morels are a wormy mushroom. You got to be able to clean them some way. Hit them with the vacuum chamber. Dope.
I'm so concerned about now. Every time I have morels, I'm gonna need to know if there are worms in mine.
I'm going to hope that is a regular standard operating procedure, and everyone knows to vacuum clean their morels. Because that's
you heard the conversation. Because Dan had my similar concern. He's like, that you're saying it's an extra step. Like, does every restaurant do this? And she was like, it's just a extra step. Like, Is it an extra step that they do in every restaurant? I kind of want to know. I need to know. Um, yeah. Loquats. I did put a large note that just says loquat exclamation mark.
Here, let me scroll down my notes right quick. The loquat, Arabotira japonica, is a large evergreen shrubber tree grown commercially for its orange fruit and for its leaves, which are used to make herbal tea. It's also cultivated as an ornamental plant. I've heard of kumquats like my entire life because it's a funny word.
Yeah.
Kumquat.
Mm-hmm.
Loquat apparently is another turn of the screw, I guess. So loquat. And several
Yeah.
people snag some parts off the back of that truck to see what they can do with it.
I've definitely heard of loquats. I don't think I've ever had them. I love kumquats. It's like a tiny, elongated orange. It's like the
Yeah.
orange that's the size and shape of a grape.
Big.
All
Like
right.
you eat the whole thing or you got to peel it?
You can, but you also can take the little skin out. It's not as thick as an orange peel, but it's a similar. It's the cousin of it. It just seems like somebody took a orange and shrunk it down to the size of a grape. The inside is kind of the same, except you can't break it down into slices. You just sort of pop the whole thing in your mouth and like spit the seeds out. And it's kind of tangy sweet
Okay.
depending on how ripe it is.
Okay.
But it's citrus. It has a little lemon behavior to the flavor. It's delicious. I almost bought some. I keep seeing them in the Giant out here, but they're most of the bags are rotted because I think people just don't
Hmm.
know what they are.
Mm. Well, loquats kind of, and I'm going to say kind of, so nobody come at me, lean toward persimmon looking,
Yeah.
not
Mm-hmm.
anything else. I'm saying just a general look. So if you know what a persimmon look like, you kind of got an idea of what a loquat will look like. And I would try it. And I'm
Yeah.
weird about fruit, but I would certainly try it.
I would try it. I would definitely try it. So Daniel, up first, our best in brunch, he made a bok choy oitashi with black chocolate question mark mushrooms. I thought that's what he said.
What did I write down for that damn? Let me scroll. Yeah, loquat, otashi, bok choy, and yeah, no. So whatever. That's
Yeah.
it.
Sola said there was so much depth. Will super well seasoned, and he could drink the broth. They loved the broth. Everybody was enamored with the broth. I thought it was supposed to be about mushroom. No, they asked him what was the feature, and he said it was the bok choy, which no one mentioned. They just mentioned the broth. Kip. They asked Kip what was the notes that they had been giving him. And my man said, seasoning, seasoning, seasoning. I would have been offended if I were him. He made carrots was his feature. He made carrot tacos with homemade tortilla with carrot juice in the tortilla, and a carrot slaw. And he used the carrot stems to make the chimichurri sauce. Will said his tortillas were a little thick. Dan couldn't taste the carrots.
Oh
And
no.
Sola said it was a really good idea and the execution was short. And he was like, but did I get it on the seasoned? And they were like, yes, it was really well seasoned.
Yes, baby.
Nothing else, baby. You got the sprinkles right there. Good job.
Mason featured beets. He made a beet and citrus salad. It was very beautiful. It was so pretty, like
It was
gorge.
plated so like
Yeah,
that was a work of art. They should have took pictures of that shit. I'm
yeah,
sure they did, but it was so gorgeous. I'd never seen none of them do a plating this pretty thus
yeah.
far.
It
So it
was
was
so
very
nice. And Will just said that the presentation was beautiful, really good. Antoine, mushroom trio with a watercress salad with a quat vinaigrette. Sola said if
What?
she didn't, just said, I think just quat, but we were talking about loquat, so I'm sure that's what it is.
yeah.
Sola said, I don't know if it celebrated the mushroom. There were too many other vegetables.
So something earlier she had said earlier in the show is I don't want a vegetable medley. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Specifically wants it to focus real hard on that. And I swear to God, twice this man made vegetable medleys this day. I was like, what is you doing?
Yeah. Yep. She just, I don't know. I don't know how you not have too many vegetables when you're doing a vegan challenge, but I guess too many vegetables that were not the mushroom, I guess is the feedback. Yeah. Danielle made vegan carrot cake and a roasted rainbow salad. Sola said it was really good. And Will had to have a come to Jesus moment with her, own your superpower, because she made them a really great muffin and then a bullshit ass salad just because she needed to cook something.
She
And
felt
they,
she needed to cook something, but I
yeah,
don't think she did. And
she
well, they
didn't.
did. Yeah.
And he was like, there's no restaurant that's going to serve this. So, oops. Katie did mushrooms 3 ways on a flat egg with a raw king oyster mushroom salad. She used plant-based egg, which they didn't toil too much over it, but she said specifically she used just egg. So in my opinion, a major component to her dish somebody else
Store-bought.
made, technically, was store-bought.
Yeah.
And then she just sauteed a bunch of mushrooms and then raw mushrooms. Um Dan said that parts are delicious, but not the mushroom. Sola tastes good, needed less egg, more mushrooms. And Will said there was so much flavor that the mushroom was being overpowered.
Yep.
Roman made mushrooms confit over Spanish tortilla with watercress and fennel. He, in the middle of the baking or cooking time, said that his Spanish tortilla was the star of the show, and he probably should have just went with that. I don't know what a Spanish tortilla is, but it was made out of a bunch of potatoes, basically.
It's the Spanish version of that parmesan. Imagine that, just
Oh,
Spanish.
okay. Okay. Dan said it was not. He's not exactly sure what the star of the dish is. Sola said it didn't need the mushroom, which was the main component. And Will said it was one of the best Spanish tortillas he ever had.
Mm-hmm.
I squeezed my notes for Jay's dish at the very bottom because I didn't want to start a new page, so forgive me. It's called Turnip for What? Oh, boo. Tomato, tomato, tomato. Boo, I'm throwing tomatoes.
Such a try.
Woo. So that was turnips 3 ways.
Also beautifully plated.
Yes, a green turnip puree, and then seared whole and also raw turnips. Will said so beautiful. Sola said nice sweetness and bitterness. Dan, this is the challenge. And she sold him on turnips. And so that was everybody. Dan says that as far as the group goes, this starter was their best effort in the competition thus far, which is good because there's only 2 that weren't great and 1 that was on the bubble, I guess, for them. Their main is going to be a vegetarian dish about flavors and presentation. So it's a hot, savory dish featuring 3 vegetables from the produce truck, and it's vegetarian. So that means they can use dairy and eggs, 1.5 hours to prepare. Drinks. Sola shouted out some of the nastiest ingredients to ever go into one drink: coffee liqueur, whiskey, a splash of milk, and a ton of bitters. What the fuck do that taste like?
I guess it really so I've heard that orange and coffee kind of can go together.
Is that the
Um,
flavor of bitters? Orange?
bitters, it's like different citruses.
Okay. But they're not
So
sweet, at all.
no, they're not. So I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it, but hey, you like what you like.
Whiskey and milk together, wouldn't that just congeal?
I don't know, but I guess with whiskey does bitters does go with whiskey. That's what it's pretty much made
Yeah,
from.
but then the milk, my stomach bubbling. I don't
And get you some pecan thin cream.
I can't even fathom it. I cannot fathom what that tastes like.
She even come to us like, this is probably gonna taste better than that one because her and Will both had a little sample of an espresso martini that Dan had ordered, and
it just
it
sounds
was
like she
like
made it up. And the
she
bartender,
did.
like,
She certainly
where is
did.
your discretion? Where you need to be like, no, I cannot fucking give you milk and bitters, ma'am. You're going to projectile vomit on the television show. Yeah, so everybody else Dan got a whole espresso martini. Will got some other drink. They always not show one of their orders and then like another drink shows up. But they both tried the espresso martini. Seems like, I don't know if they liked it because they were just like, that was an espresso martini. I just tried one for the first time. It's not bad if you like cold coffee.
I do. I love cold coffee.
You probably like
I
it.
used to drink my mama's coffee. You know, saying she make a cup of coffee and just leave it there. I'm like,
Mm-hmm. And you take a sip. Yeah. Yeah. So they were discussing the previous challenge. Danielle did need the savory offering. Kip and Katie are kind of in trouble. So we get our reason why Katie had her emotional breakthrough. Katie from Columbus, Ohio, her restaurant closed because of COVID. It opened in 2018 and they were just not, she said they were too young, too new, and just didn't survive COVID. And it was like her life's work. She's very broken up about it. And Will are doing the walk around. Danielle is cooking vegetables, and she has monikered herself as a badass baking bitch. And apparently, Dan's father, Eugene, can only cook like 4 vegetables. So he didn't have a lot of exposure to vegetables as a youngster.
Discovering that during this episode was such a delight.
Right?
It's like to find out the lovely character actor and comedian, all around fun guy can't Eugene Levy can't cook a damn vegetable.
Right.
Pretty fucking hilarious.
It's really funny. Roman from El Paso, Texas, he describes it as a cuco chucho style of cooking. Never heard of that. He said 5 years ago he was morbidly obese. He went vegan 4 years ago and has since lost between 80 and 90 pounds. And he owns El Paso's first 100% plant-based business.
Look,
wonderful thing he's doing to the community there.
I ain't clowning old boy. And,
I am.
His story is his story. However, in the photos they shared, if that is morbidly obese,
right,
buddy, you're just chubby and you lost the weight. Congratulations.
But that's the thing. A doctor will call you morbidly obese for being his size because I am obese. I'm technically obese. My doctor has just told me I need to lose 25 pounds and I am in like the best shape I've been in decades. And I finally love my body exactly how it is. And some doctors like, unfortunately, you're fat.
Can't trust them. They especially anyway. That's not what this show is. So
yeah.
But if you know, you know.
Yeah.
You can't trust them. Just put it that way.
Mains. Daniel, best in brunch. He is up first with braised daikon with togarashi butter sauce, beach mushrooms, and spigarello, which is a mix between broccoli and kale. He made the daikon like scallops.
It looks so good.
I don't eat scallops or daikon.
I love radish. I love scallops. I guess he made that for me.
Will said it was beautiful. Will said it was beautiful, which was his word of the episode. I think he said it at least once around. Sola used the vegetables really well. Dan, broth is insanely delicious, beautifully restrained precision, he said.
Where did you study it? How did you learn this? Well, I'm self-taught and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, motherfucker.
You started out as ugly delicious, but now I'm like, girl, it's a size. It's a size. Not that I have anything against Daniel, but my God, I guess because I can't taste the food, I'm hating. But he's not really made many things that I'm like dying to try. Yes, Antoine. He did an Ethiopian inspired medley with Romanesco, potatoes, and collard greens. Um, Dan, a major step for you. Sola, a totally different you. Will, it's so good. I don't understand the kind of low key critique there of Antoine. Like they are saying this was the first time he showed up on the plate.
Which is has to be bullshit because he's there at week 3.
Right.
But I think they feel like maybe I'm gonna go with I'm gonna focus on that turn of phrase. He showed up,
And
meaning
I
maybe
get
they
what they're
feel his
trying to say. It just doesn't feel like, as a viewer, that this food is drastically different than the
it,
other offerings
correct.
he's made.
Exactly. And so I'm like, oh, do you think what that he must be Ethiopian now? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Does he have some Ethiopian descent in him? And you feel like he's showing that up? Is that what you're trying to suggest? And if that's the
Right.
case,
I didn't get it.
he didn't share that with us, so you whip that up in your own mind. So yeah, I also was looking at him kind of like, yeah, okay. they be saying shit sometimes. And I'm lightweight,
Yeah.
like you are just this side of rude, just close enough to me to
Hmm.
be saying, okay, buddy, watch yourself now.
uh, that's why it's hard for me when I like grab onto a contestant that I really like the way that they were doing Sandro on Bake. I'm like, now look, you're gonna leave him alone. Kip made blackened quote unquote chicken and grits. The
Hmm.
chicken was grilled lion's mane mushroom, and then there were raw and cooked carrots and onions. Sola wants a little more seasoning. I would have just left. I would have just walked out. After all that, Will said the carrots weren't as represented in like color or like he couldn't see them or taste them. He said that there's some work to do, but this is a huge step in the right direction. Danielle made shiitake and zucchini quiche with fried zucchini blossom, fennel, blood orange salad. Sola, very rich. Richness is hiding the mushroom. And they really just didn't know if the veggies were the star of her dish. Mason made smoked carrots over a cauliflower puree and burl onion
Mhm.
sauce? I don't know. Will, I love everything about it. Dan, you crushed it. And then Jay made cold soba noodles with mushrooms, zucchini, and peas with a tahini paste. Sola, noodles and sauce taste great, but the veggies aren't the star. Dan, it's a little muddy, but absolutely delicious. Roman, he is homesick from the farmer's market. He cried again. He talked about his gordita with Romanesco, new potatoes, and kale. Sola, great job featuring the 3 vegetables. Yeah. Dan, they taste the confidence, and this was a beautiful celebration of his home. Will, it was one of the best gorditas I've ever had in my entire life. It's huge.
I don't think Will's ever been to Taco Bell. Just gonna point that out there. Yeah.
Katie made quote unquote meat and potatoes with braised and charred carrots over mashed potatoes, braised baby shallots. Dan said they were some of the best mashed potatoes he's ever had. Will, it makes me so happy. So the tops are Daniel and Roman, but actually only Will said Roman. They were both Daniel. Dan said he is willing to fight to the death for Daniel. And
Hmm.
Will said it was a close toss up between Daniel and Roman. He didn't want the smoke. Fight to the death
I
for a
uh,
daikon.
yeah, I think Roman should have won this week, and it really wasn't even close to me. But whatever, I'm not the chef, and I didn't taste it, so well.
At risk was Kip, Jay, and Danielle.
Uh, who should have went home did not go home. Is upsetting.
Kip went home.
Yeah.
Kip hasn't had a really great week. I think he's had one dish that they kind of liked, whereas Danielle, they have like loved. the majority of her things. At least one thing a week they really liked.
Yeah, but this week she kind of went to the well twice and did the same thing twice, and they didn't like it twice.
Yeah,
Like they kind of told they said, hey, baby, don't make a baked good in a salad. You don't need to do that. And
right.
then he made a baked good in a salad again.
But at least it tasted good. They sounded like they didn't like Kip's. They liked his mashed potatoes, but the
Yeah.
main focus was the carrots and something else. And then he
Yeah.
didn't. He fell back on not seasoning after all of that in the first round.
Learned the lesson and immediately forgot it.
I think he was. I think he might have done better than her in this episode, but to me, he was closer to going home before this episode than she was.
Yeah. Have to allow for it in that regard. But see, that's the other thing. I wish I don't like them. I don't like this on Bake Off either. I don't this week, and it should be this week and this week only is what we should be doing now. And I know we can't help ourselves because we are humans, and we're going to also be like, well, that one time he saved my life, and in the war, so I gotta say he did something that week. But I wish it was week to week, and specifically we just focus on the week at hand. If that were the case, she would have went home. She should have gone home.
I guess it also just depends on how they're announcing, how they're judging the winner.
Yeah.
Like, because if it's for the final challenge, or is it the final challenge and how they've done throughout the competition, or, it's just, I guess it all just depends on how final judging works.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember at all anything about next week, and I think I'm only 2 episodes where I stopped, so it's about to be brand new to me, so I won't know.
Very good. Like I said, I've been taking them week by week, just like as we had discussed, and I like it. It's nice. Although, like I said,
Yeah,
this
I think
one
they've
only
got their footing.
Yeah. I was real happy with the editing this week, except for again what was Will drinking, but that's something I think we have to accept. Like they're not going to give you the details that you want, but at all times. But it was a dig, man. I very much enjoy the show. I'm glad we are going through it, and some more of this is pretty nice to have. So I'm about to watch some more of it.
Aunt, did you finish it?
Yeah, I finished it. No, this whole season? Oh
Yeah.
no, not yet. Once we started going through it, I stopped. I know my partner, she finished it, but I've been avoiding talking to her about it. I know you said it got spoiled for you though, right, T?
Yeah, because I was when I was typing up that first week's notes, I was trying to get just a link for everybody, and just through trying to get everybody a little bit of information about every baker, every chef that for that first set of notes, so people had it. It was like this motherfucker right here did the damn thing, and I was like, "You sons of whores, y'all got to realize, man. I get it. It's out there, but just because it's bingeable doesn't mean you need to. I don't know, man. People got to be better about what they write or how they
right,
write.
like spoilers contained in this article, and have like not the winner be the picture that you put on the article. Well, I've enjoyed y'all. I'm Nick Jew. I don't think I've said my handle in a couple of weeks. It's NICJU on Twitter. That's T.
I'm here. Also, all of our links are at the bottom of the show notes each and every week. So if you are a show notes kind of person, don't worry. You can get to anywhere and everywhere with just the tap of your finger and or the click of your mouse. I'll make it real easy for you.
Over there too.
Tatum 216.
Checks, please. Bye.
I would like to have that mint off the video.
They didn't bring enough mints. I hate when they do that.
Some of the church mints. Keep it soft.
What happened to you? You used to be beautiful.